Please stand. Today, as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Counsel Mercia.
Here.
Counsel Milonazo.
Here.
Counsel Rourke.
Here.
Counsel Samaras.
Here.
Counsel Belanger.
Here.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Counsel Leahy.
Here.
Counsel Leary.
Here.
8 present.
First matter before us are the minutes of the City Council meeting of December 6th, the Finance Subcommittee of December 12th, the Transportation Subcommittee of December 13th, and the City Council meeting of December 13th for acceptance. We have a motion to accept and place on file by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Milonazo. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Being before 7 o'clock, we'll skip over the public hearings and go to communications from the city manager. We have items A through J this evening, and the first item, item A, is the safe zone transaction location. Is there any? Council Rourke.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank the manager and the police chief for the response. If the chief could just say a few words about the process, that'd be great.
Through you, Mayor, to Councilor Rourke. This location will allow us, we'll publicize this on various media outlets and various social media applications so that people in the community will know they can come to the police station. It's a safe area where they can conduct electronic transactions that are typically done using the internet. I think the police department area outside is the appropriate area. It has very good coverage from already existing surveillance cameras, and so people have I think, an adequate sense of safety. We already use this location for several years now for a similar type of situation. Many times the courts, when they have a kind of a contentious custody battle or they have to transition children from one parent to the next, they'll mandate that it happens in front of the police station, and we see that on a constant basis. So to that extent, this is just a continuation of the already existing availability for that.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Council Rourke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the manager. If we could just, like I said, publicize this, as the chief said. A couple different people asked me about a e-commerce transaction place, so it's a good response, and I think it's the perfect spot in the city to get this done. So thank you.
Yeah, so I read this. I thought it was a real good idea. In other words, if you buy something on Craigslist or something else over the internet, you can do the transaction right in front of the police station and let the police department know that you're doing the transaction, and so that it's safe for everybody. Thank you. Any further discussion on item A? If not, we'll move on to item B, the church parking on Gorham Street. Any discussion on item B?
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes, thank you for a speedy resolve to this situation. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Any further discussion on item B? If not, we'll move on to item C, 15-minute parking on Branch Street. Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has to do with the Branch Street location where the tragic fire was in 2015. Which since that site has been rebuilt without the housing aspect of it, which I think is offers a lot of relief to that neighborhood, not having those extra 11 or 12 residential units. So this business needed help with parking, and they got relief, luckily, from the city, from the administration and their hard work. And I want to thank traffic engineer Nick Bosnetto for his hard work as well. This business is very grateful for what the city has done for them. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on item C? If not, we'll move on to item D, the master plan review. Council Samaras.
Thank you. Mayor Kennedy, I'd like to thank the city manager for this report. This report is quite well done. But actually, Mr. Manager, I'd like to make a motion that you present this report before the Subcommittee on Economic Development. My reason for this is, this plan's been in effect since 2008. It has many successes, and it's had some failures, and it has raised some issues with our constituents. So I think if you were to bring this before the subcommittee, you would basically help give a history of what has taken place, the successes that have taken place with this plan, some of the problems that have been created that have not come to fruition, and actually what steps that the city council could take in the future. Do you see my point? I mean, I think this would be a great help to us.
Good, Mr. Manager.
I believe you scheduled a subcommittee for next week, is
Yes,
it?
we
So
have
would you like to present it at that meeting?
Yes, if you could do that, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Council Leary.
No, first, thank you, Mr. Manager, for responding to the motion. I appreciate it. I think and I agree with sending it to the Economic Subcommittee for further discussion. The premise of having it was really, are we deviating from the plan? And I understand all the intricacies and different agencies that went into developing, as well as the civic involvement. But if we are deviating it, or should we deviate it? Or is it at this point in time, the plan makes sense? You know, we're not talking about small alterations, we're talking wholesale alterations. But I think having that discussion in more detail is appropriate. And I thank you for the, definitely the history outline of the efforts that went into creating that plan. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Council Samara, seconded by Council Leary, to refer item D, the master plan review, to the Economic Development Subcommittee. Any discussion on the motion?
Again, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, if we could, as part of the presentation to the Economic Development Subcommittee, get an update on both Genesis and Watermark. I see the Watermark is mentioned in the report as working with the Planning and Development Office, just looking for an update on Genesis as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Council Samaras.
Yes, also, I think what has to happen here is that there are many issues that are raised by this plan, and I don't believe sometimes our constituents understand why we simply couldn't make some changes and why it takes so much effort to make a change, but it requires permitting changes that require a review by the law department and other things. So the one thing that we don't want to do is, I most certainly don't want to do, is ask questions on how we can make things go a little faster and in some way hamper actually good efforts that have been made. So that'll be important to have that type of information with this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? All opposed? So voted. The next item is item E, external contracts. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Through you to the manager, thank you for the report. And this is something that I've been discussing with Commissioner Bellegarde for a while. And, you know, the report states it that, and it says it all, that, you know, what we're trying to do is be more efficient, save our money so we can get more done in the city. So there's a few things in here we have to be careful of, but how we're spending the money and how we do it. But I'm positive that, you know, from going forward, that we're going to be able to save some money and be more efficient. We all don't like getting those phone calls of someone's yard torn up and it's been 3-4 weeks after the project's done and they're not back yet. So projects like that, projects that they do in the parks. So it's a good report, and we'll look forward to continuing working with this with Commissioner Bellegarde on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on this item? If not, we'll move on to, well, the next item, item F, is a 5-year plan for problem properties. The city manager is requesting that we pull this from the agenda. If there's no objection, we'll pull it from the agenda this evening. Maybe it will be on at a different time. The next item is item G, the status of the Hamilton Canal District parking garage. Any discussion? Council Samaras.
I'd actually like to add this effort to the city manager's presentation, because we are concerned if the Hamilton project is going to be successful, it's going to require parking, and a lot of parking. So I think to have an update on the Hamilton parking garage and any other efforts that's being made by the city. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? We have a motion by Council Samaras to refer this also to the Economic Development Subcommittee, seconded by Council Larry. Discussion on the motion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. The next item is the Broadway Street Bridge. Any discussion on the Broadway Street Bridge? Hearing none, we'll move on to lead testing. Any discussion on lead testing? Mr. Manager.
Thank you. This has been a really comprehensive effort on behalf of the Water Department, especially Eliana Morales, who is our water tester out. Eliana has gone to 30 public schools and tested all of those public schools. And she did it Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. and not the most premier time to be out testing. Well, no, that's the premier time to testing, but not for her to have to do it. And also, in the interest of public safety, Eliana has also tested every private and parochial school in the city of Lowell. And she's done a great job. I'd like you just to briefly explain to the counselors what the process was and what you accomplished. And I got an update today. There's only 2 schools where we now have to do any type of work whatsoever. All of the issues have been addressed. The only 2 schools is that at the Butler School, room 207 science room just has a special part on order, and the Stocklosa School, room 306, a special part is on order. And when that parts come in, those 2 faucets will be replaced, and we will have cured any issues whatsoever with bubblers and faucets in the city. But Eliana did such a great job. I'd like her to just to explain to you what you've done in the past 6 months, I think it's been.
So the project started back in May. We decided to test all the schools that were built prior to 1990. Those are the ones that were mostly concerned with high levels of lead. There were 17 schools. We tested all. Out of those 17 schools, there were about 25 faucets and bubblers that were not in compliance, and we replaced them, and they were brought back into compliance. And during the month of October, we worked together with Mass DEP, and we tested the remaining 13 schools that were built post-1990, in addition to the 10 private schools. All of the samples have been worked on, parts were replaced. And from all of the schools, we recommended to do the flushing program that allows to get rid of any contaminants that might be in the water, especially those that are in the pipes for a long period of time. Overall, from the 40 schools, we collected samples, 3,195 samples from 1,897 faucets and 542 bubblers. Only from those, only 52 faucets and 10 bubblers were out of compliance, and we've been able to do the flushing program and replace the faucets. And like you say, there's only 2 remaining. And yep, and it is recommended to do it every 5 years. We have recommended the school department to test 6 schools a year. That way it won't be such a long of a process, and just continue on to the routine of sampling the schools on a yearly basis.
Thank you. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a very important issue when it comes to lead in the water. We send our loved ones to school in hopes that they'll learn, and then we don't think about these other issues that can arise. So nestled quietly in the city are people such as Eliana, who look for no notoriety. We don't even know this person as far as, I do know you because I did go up and see you at one point, but the public does not know this woman or many others just like her that do their job diligently until there's like a concern. And so I'm so very proud to have you working for the city, because we know that there's good people that are so quietly doing their tremendously professional job, and I'm very, very proud of people like you and the many that we have in this city that make our city so great, because this is an important issue that was brought up by Councilor Elliott some time ago, and we never think about this, but while I'm on this subject, I know that there's 2 water bubblers in the gymnasium on the 2nd floor at Lowell High School. Mr. Manager, one filter was out since April. I brought it to your attention, and within, I don't know, an hour, it was fixed. But there's another bubbler on the other side of the gymnasium that is completely not working. So I wonder if we could get that one to work. Because believe it or not, these kids go to school with water, and then when they're done with the water, they fill it up at these bubblers. I never realized how prevalent that was, but it's a very important topic. So thank you for your diligence, your professional hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this matter? If not, thank you. If not, we'll move on to the fiscal year 2017 tax rate. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. I sent out a response, or at least a communication that would that set out the increase in the taxes for the year. Remember, as part of the budget, the City Council back in May approved a 1.5% increase in the tax levy, which equates to about $1.5 million. So the question is, how do we raise that additional $1.5 million? And what we do is we apportion it among all of the taxpayers, both commercial, industrial, and residential. This City Council was magnanimous in voting that the residential shift be as far away from the residential taxpayers as possible. So any increase in taxes is being felt less by the residents, the residential owners, than commercial and industrial. So based upon the increase, the decrease in the value of your home, that's how your tax bill was assessed. And if you look at all of the tax bills from a residential standpoint, the average tax bill went up $189. I think it's a very reasonable amount of money. When you look at what investments the City Council has made with that $189, you have the police department as far as uniformed police officers as an all-time high since the days of President Bill Clinton. You have the fire department force at an all-time high in 2 decades. You had another $1 million cash investment to the Lowell public school system. When I came here, we were $4.5 million under net school spending. We anticipate that this month we will get a report from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that we will be $9.5 million in excess of net school spending in this fiscal year. And that's because of the commitment this City Council made to the education system. I've had unprecedented capital projects. I mean, the paving, the sidewalks, Lucy Larkin Parkway, the Lawrence Street Bridge, just on and on. This council is invested in the curb appeal of this city. So the $189, I believe, has been well spent, and that's the report relative to the tax rate, which the residents are now receiving their bills.
Any discussion? Councilor Mercia?
I just have one question through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager. Does any of this proposed 5% increase in the taxes include any part of Lowell High School, the new addition? No.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
Correct.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion? If not, the chair would entertain a motion to accept all the communications from the city manager and place them on file. We have a motion by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion on the motion. All in favor or all opposed? So voted. Next is a communication from the city manager to reappoint Ron Lastman, Joseph Mellon, Providencia De Leon, and David Ellington to the Lowell Disability Commission. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yes,
by
so
Councilor
moved.
Mercia, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Discussion, roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have a communication to reappoint George DeLuca, Paul Belly, Dan O'Connor, Susan Smith, Janet Basorian, Brent Rourke, Nicole Nickerson, Jude DeHart, Joanne Howell, Diane Waddell, and Linda King to the Hunger Homeless Commission. Do we have a motion to, we need a motion to accept, place on file by Council Leary, seconded by Council Belanger. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, we have a communication to accept the resignation of Christopher Rue from the Board of Parks. Do we have a motion to accept and place on file by Council Rourke, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is a communication to appoint Melissa DeRocha to the Board of Parks. Motion to approve by Council Leary, seconded by Councilor Leahy. Discussion, roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Sure.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy. Counsel Leary.
Yes.
It's 8 yeas.
And I think Melissa DeRocha is here, so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager and the council. This is quite an honor, and I am looking forward to it. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity. Going to be tough shoes to fill, but I'll try my best. And like I said, I'm looking forward to serving the city in this way. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a communication to accept the resignation of W. Timothy Green from the Lowell Housing Authority. We have a motion by Council Rourke to accept the communication, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion. The motion is just to accept and place on file. Discussion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is a communication to appoint Matthew Ma to the Lowell Housing Authority as the labor representative. Do we have a motion to approve by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Milonazo? Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
8 yeas.
And Matthew Maher, I believe, is here as well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very excited about this. Thank you for the appointment. I grew up in Lowell my whole life. I hung out in housing. My grandmother was in housing. My best friend was in housing my whole life. Hung out there forever. Really excited about doing this and giving back, help the community. Thank you.
Next, we have a communication from the city manager requesting out-of-state travel for one person in the Division of Planning and Development. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have a vote from the city manager to transfer the amount of $204,161.40 in funds for attorney's fees associated with remediation costs as awarded by the court. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading to transfer the amount of $204,061.40 in funds for attorney's fees associated with remediation costs as awarded by the court. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion to approve by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Mercia. Discussion, roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next on to orders from the city manager. We have an order for pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances in the City of Lowell, Massachusetts concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading. Pursuant to Chapter 266 in the Code of Ordinances in the City of Lowell, Massachusetts concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations, Temporary Traffic Regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. We have a motion to approve. Motion approved by Council Rourke, seconded by Councilor Leary. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Leary.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
Next, on the subcommittee reports, we have a report from the Technology and Utility Subcommittee of January 3rd, 2017.
Thank you, Mayor. Just
Councilor
quickly, in attendance myself were myself and Councilor Leahy and virtually the entire city council. The city manager and his staff, Mike McGovern, Toby Marks, as well as Rodney Conley. It was a presentation long waiting regarding the city's new website with a new company called Civic Plus. We expect the website, which is still, I don't know if it's on the TV right now or not, but it's still up on our screen. The website will be effective this Thursday, January 5th. And some of the big upgrades on the website is going to be more user-friendly. A website before had a lot of information, but it was really a challenge for most folks to ascertain where the information was. Now, that information plus additional information and really becoming more of a customer service-friendly website with online billing, online payment, information regarding what type of fees are required for different types of projects, et cetera, better information. But in addition, just to highlight some of the areas, the new provision, Lowell Like page, is really going to be a connection with the cultural events and other events that take part in this great city. And I think we're working with Toby Marks and some of the folks in the city, linking this up right to different organizations within the city, a calendar attached that organizations, once approved, can actually have their events posted on the city page. A place where people who are coming to visit the city or people who are just reconnecting with the city can actually find out what's going on in the city in a more of an aesthetically pleasing, eye-pleasing scenario. More exciting is going to be the mobile app, which we're expecting at the end of February. So it'd be more of a professional, easy, high-technology level of ascertaining information. I think I already said online billing and easier to use, but also it's going to not only be better, but it's going to cost less. So we're actually, instead of having a $45,000 a year, it's going to be dropped to $30,000 a year. So it's going to be more informative. Hopefully the public, when we kick it off Thursday, Friday, will get feedback in terms of where we need to make any adjustments going forward. But I think, and speaking on behalf of the council, this is very exciting. I think it's something bringing us to really represent the good things that actually happen within the city and in a way that is professional, in a way that's easier for folks to really ascertain. So I want to just make that as a motion, as a report of progress, and a thank you to the city folks for putting the time and effort into this to actually make this and bring this to fruition. And we're all looking Thursday. We don't know exactly what hour, but kick it on Thursday and check it out. Hopefully it's running up and well on Thursday, and then provide feedback to what you think about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Council Leary to accept the report as a report of progress, seconded by Council Leahy. Discussion on the report or the motion. Council Leahy.
Thank you. I just want to say that if you check the website Wednesday, it'll tell you when it's coming on Thursday. So, but I just wanted to add that it was a great report, and the website really looks fantastic. So everybody who worked on it did a great job. Thank you.
I just hope it doesn't show up on just because.
We'll all have to wait and see. Anyways, any further discussion? Council Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just announced that we're going to have our next Neighborhood Services Subcommittee meeting. That'll be held on January 23rd, 7 p.m. It'll be hosted by the Lowell Downtown Neighborhood Association, and that'll be over at LTC, once again, on January 23rd at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor? All opposed? So voted. Being shortly after 7 o'clock, we'll return now to the public hearings, item 2.1, and open up the hearing. The hearing is an ordinance, is to amend Chapter 222, Peace and Good Order, by creating a new section, 222.17, entitled Public Nuisance Properties. And we'll open up the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor?
Hi, Armin Hebert, 499 Wilder Street. I think this is a great ordinance that's going to really help the city get these absentee landlords to comply with the laws of the city, make these two gentlemen's jobs a lot easier. The only thing I was that I did have a question on, and I can just nod your head, I know you don't have to answer, but does that include like the businesses where we have problems with bars and shit and stuff like that, that are downtown? That I hope is part of that agreement, and I think it's a great thing for the city. Let's start putting these people back into order. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak in favor?
I'd also like to speak in favor of this ordinance. I think it's a great motion. This ordinance will give us the ability to fine some of these absentee landlords, people that have problems with their alarm systems and they're not very responsive to fixing the alarm system, or if they have people pulling pull stations, any kind of a nuisance alarm, we might ask them to step up their security with cameras or security guards, and if people are uncooperative, we can fine them up to $300, which I think is a great thing. So we won't be finding some of the real big apartment complexes where they might have 5 alarms in a year. That would be typical for some of these places if they have a burnt food or if they did have a real fire. But if people have multiple false alarms, nuisance calls, we would be able to fine them and hopefully get the landlords to fix the problem a lot quicker. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Through you to the City Council. From the Police Department's perspective, we absolutely are in support of this initiative. Our policing strategy in the city is focused on prevention and partnerships in the community. When we have to focus an inordinate amount of our resources day in and day out to respond to the same problem locations, we don't have the officers available to go out, do those partnerships, build those trusting relationships in the community, and really prevent crime, which is the whole goal of this police department. And so we have certain locations in the city that require us to be there, in some cases, multiple times a day. And that takes away that critical time that route officer or that officer assigned to that geographic area doesn't have the ability to go out and do those preventative, proactive enforcement and partnership strategies that are so critical. So this is another tool, as my brother from the fire department said, to really be able to get landlords and problem properties in tune so that we can focus our attention where it should be, and that's protecting everybody in the city, not just a couple of problem properties.
Thank you, Chief.
And if I might add, I'd like to add also that this ordinance will benefit both the firefighters and the people who live in the apartment buildings. It's a nuisance when the alarms keep going off in the middle of the night and on the weekends over and over again. And we could put a stop to that. And also, it's very dangerous for the firefighters to drive through the city with lights and sirens on. So it'll eliminate some of the false alarm calls. So it'll be a kind of a win-win for both the fire department and the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, we'll close the hearing on behalf of the proponents and open it up for those who wish to speak in opposition. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, we'll close the hearing on behalf of the opponents, open it up to the City Council. Councilor Mercia.
Move approval.
We have a motion approved by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Discussion on the motion. Councilor Milanazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager or the city solicitor. It does say that there's an ability to bring a non-criminal disposition against the property owner. Are there other laws, mass general laws or ordinances that you could bring a criminal complaint outside of this ordinance? Because, I mean, there has been issues in the past where we've actually brought criminal complaints against landlords for violating certain ordinances and so forth. That does not prohibit us from being able to do that. No, okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Manager.
I think an important thing is the ordinance that's before you this evening, not only does it call for a $300 per day fine, but it also calls for us to bill the property owner for the cost of the response by the police or the fire department. So I think that's going to be a real deterrent to these false alarms and nuisance calls.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Milanazzo.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
Council Samaras.
Yes.
Council Belanger.
Yes.
Council Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Leary.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
That concludes all the public hearings for this evening. Returning to the agenda, item 7.1 under petitions, we have 2 property claims. The motion would be to refer to the Law Department for report and recommendation. by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under miscellaneous, Maloney Properties Incorporated, on behalf of Alexa Cologne, requests one handicap parking sign at 473 Moody Street. The motion would be to refer to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation by Councilor Mercia.
If I could have a 60-day trial on that?
For a 60-day trial. And seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under council motions, we have two motions by Councilor Elliott, who's not here. My suggestion would be that we vote on the motions and then.
Well,
We have one. The second one is a joint one, but the Councilor Mercia.
well, I did speak to Councilor Elliott yesterday, and I asked him about his motions, if we could put them on next week's agenda.
Okay.
Well, the one that, he said the both of them, but
Well, one of them is with Councilor Leahy, so it'll be up to, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, so we'll put up both of those motions then until, and take them up under old business next week.
thank you.
And so, moving on, the next motion of the evening, item 8.3, is a motion by Councilor Leahy. Request that the city manager have the Division Planning and Development provide an economic report regarding the upcoming year. The report to include information on business coming into and leaving the city. Seconded by Councilor Leary. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Through you to the manager. What I'm looking for is maybe like a forecast of what they feel will be happening in the next year coming up. I know we lost a couple of businesses downtown. I know that there's a couple more coming in, so, but basically, if we could just see what direction we hope we're going into, what we can do as a council maybe to help bring and spur some business into downtown. I think personally with Indigo leaving and the couple of the restaurants, it's a shot in the arm to downtown, but we do have a couple of new restaurants coming in that I've heard of, so basically that's what I'm looking for, to see what we can do to keep the downtown business community going, so, and support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Leary.
No, I think it's a good motion. I think two parts to it. If you could almost, how are we tracking the tax rates, tax availability, what's coming in, would be a good way to see how well we're doing from a financial standpoint. But it's also a good chance to start utilizing our new website, because like you can announce different things that are coming into downtown. I think it'd be a real positive to see the restaurants that you hear anecdotally or, from different folks. So I think the motion's an excellent motion, and it does provide some opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is by Councilor Mercer. Request that the city manager investigate ways to provide opportunities for athletic field sponsorships. Seconded by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is my understanding that there's a public school that is, a private school that is looking to have additional field space. And they use their own property, but it's really not large enough. So I would like to refer this motion to the city manager and to the Parks Subcommittee so that, Mr. Manager, if you could look into providing opportunity and extra park or athletic space somewhere in the city and provide a scale of fees that I don't believe this entity would be willing to do this for nothing. They'd pay for the provided space. If we could find a way to balance this off, that'd be good. So refer it to the city manager, refer this motion to the Parks. When you're ready and you have a report, then we will meet. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor? All opposed? So voted. The next motion of the evening is by Councilor Samaras. Request the city manager ensure neighborhood organizations are informed of all public board meetings and their agendas. Seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I do realize that Councilor Rourke had made a motion several months back on just that, providing information to the neighborhood groups. And I know Associate Planner Christine McCall has been doing a great job on this. But at the same time, I had been attending the Downtown Association, Neighborhood Association meeting, and that was one of the issues that were brought up that was very important to the people there, was what was happening in some of the after-hour clubs, and that they were concerned, they wanted to make sure that they were getting the information. So at the same time that Councilor Rourke's motion came through, I was in dialogue with several members of the Downtown Association regarding this. And I'm glad of two things. One, that the information is getting out properly. And two, I think as a board, we have to understand what the concerns are of the neighborhood associations. And a big one for the downtown group is the after-hour clubs and what happens. And they want to make sure that if something does happen, and they truly are aware of it, they want to make sure that they get their words in as to their concerns about what's going on. So I appreciate the effort that the city has been doing, that this information is getting out, but I'm also alerting city officials that this is an area that we have to listen to and make sure we understand what the neighborhood concerns are, especially in the downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Samaras and Councilor Leary. Request that the city manager update the city council regarding the status of the Bridge Street renovations. Councilor Samaras.
Just want to ensure that what we did up in Couple Square does happen on Bridge Street. There was discussion that once the lights were fixed in Bridge Street, that the Department of Planning and Development would look into doing curb appeal in the rest of the Bridge Street area. Mr. Manager, your staff did such a great job in Couple Square. I mean, it's really become a showplace, and I think we're looking forward to seeing that same thing happen on Bridge Street. We just need an idea of timeline when it's going to be possible to be done. But thank you. Thank you for that effort.
Any further discussion on the motion? Councilor Leary.
Just real quick, I think Councilor Samaras articulated our thoughts on it. I think ultimately it comes down to economic development. It comes down to really the tax base, which we just voted on tonight. Anything we can do to enhance the number of businesses, improve their ability to, quite frankly, pay a higher tax rate than the residential would be beneficial. So this, I think, making that area easier to travel, both pedestrians as well as vehicles, I think that's a positive. I think Couple Square, it would be good to kind of get a feedback from that business thing too for the council, kind of how well that's adjusted. I drive, around it a little bit different than we used to be because I live in that area, but it is something that's vibrant. And so I'd like to see that, that same energy coming into Bridge Street as well. Thank you.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Just quickly, while we're on the topic of Bridge Street, we had a problem with the lights maybe a few weeks back, and did the state come in and address that?
I think that was the left-hand turn signal. I think they repaired that, so it should be fine right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Leary. Requests that the city manager work to create a consistent trash and recycle pickup time period, especially during the holiday time frames. Seconded by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Leary.
Just quickly, because it speaks for itself. I know it's a challenge, but ultimately, and with a new website, information will be much easier to access. But at the end of the day, I mean, it'd be nice to kind of have a better time frame. It's not something that I think that, it's the end of the universe if it gets picked up at 8 o'clock versus 10 o'clock. Obviously not, but more consistency. You're paying for a service, so consistency would be better. Consistency would be appropriate. But I realize the challenges involved with it. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. The last motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Leary. Requests that the city manager work with the Department of Parks to repair and repoint the stone wall at Crowley Park. Seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Councilor Leary.
Just a call from a few folks regarding the Crowley Park is where the water tower is on Wedge Street. For those of you that don't know that apparently, but part of it when you're facing coming down Lura Street in the corner of Wedge and Campbell, that's the part in that area is disconnected from the wall. It's a beautiful little park in that area, a playground for younger folks, and it's a positive part of that neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. That concludes the agenda for this evening. So all we've got left is announcements. Do we have any announcements? We have no announcements. Councilor Leahy.
I have one announcement. I just wanted to make sure that There was a story in Monday's paper about the Lowell High School and the 6 students that received the scholarships. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the high school, the headmaster, and all the staff and teachers. This says a lot. I guess they were saying in the article that maybe one student from the high school may get the scholarship. This year we had, I think there's 6 seniors, so speaks volumes for the high school in the city of Lowell. So congratulations to them.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further announcements? If not, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn by Counselor Rourke, seconded by Counselor Samaras. All in favor, all opposed? Stand adjourned.
I was way off. Keep it-